All right, class, today is the last section of Chapter 3, and we're going to continue on with this idea of using charts to solve word problems. But we're going to use specific word problems this time. We've got 4 different types if you look on the screen. We're going to look at cost problems, okay? Now, if I was talking about a cost problem, it says number of items times price per item. Well, let's say I went to Vons and I bought 10 candy bars at 50 cents a piece. Okay, so if I bought 10 candy bars at 50 cents a piece, 10 items times 50 cents a piece gives me $5. That's right. So that's how we take care of those. Now, let's say instead we were doing income. If we were doing a story problem that dealt with income, we're going to talk about the hours worked times the wage. Okay, let's see. Nate worked at the movie theater this last weekend. Nate gets $13.50 an hour, and he worked 20 hours this weekend. So how much money did Nate make this weekend? Yeah, if you multiply those two together, okay, we get, $270? So Nate made $270 this weekend working. Now, when we get to total value chart problems, the idea here is we're talking about money. Most of the time, they're going to give us a collection of coins, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and tell us how much it's worth, and then we will figure out the price. Now, the one that's a little bit different and the one that is not on the top of your note sheet today is the idea of profit. Okay, so you'll need to make sure you write that down, and we'll do one of those problems as we go through here today. So let's go ahead and we're going to do some of the story problems on your note sheet. And the first one that we're going to do is the very first problem on the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're on number 1. And it says 40 students bought caps at the baseball game. Plain caps cost $4 each, and deluxe ones cost $6 each. If the total bill was $236, how many students bought the deluxe cap? Well, if we go through here just like yesterday when we're filling in our charts, what do we know already? What do we automatically know? Well, when we read through that problem, we know the price. It says that a deluxe cap costs $6, and the story problem tells us that plain hats cost $4. All right, so since we know the price, we've got to figure out how many students bought the deluxe cap. Well, again, just like yesterday, if all I need to solve for is deluxe caps, I'm going to make that D. If you notice, I've already got D under number. But if deluxe caps are D, then what's going to be my variable expression for plain hats? There's one more number we need up there. It's kind of hidden, okay? Kind of hidden. If you look there, yes. How many students bought hats? 40 students bought hats. So if deluxe hats is D, how do we find out the plain hats? Well, we're going to take the total number of students, which was 40, and subtract how many bought deluxe hats. So just like yesterday. So that's how we get those, fill in those charts. Now, that third column is total, so again, we just multiply across. So we're going to have 6 times the number of deluxe hats, which is 6D. And then the plain hats were $4 a piece times the number of plain hats that were bought. Okay, so what's my equation going to look like? If the total bill was $236, how many students bought deluxe hats? So total bill means deluxe hats, which was 6D, plus plain hats. We're going to take that off our total number of plain hats, and the total cost for all those hats, $236. What do you think we should do next? Yes, we need to take care of that distributive property. So we've got 6D plus 4 times 40. Well, 4 times 40 is 160. minus 4D equals 236. Let's combine like terms. So we've got 2D plus 160, 236. Who's my floater? Yep, that 160. We have to subtract 160 from both sides. So now I have 2D equals 76. And if I divide both sides by 2, we're going to get D equals 38. So what was the question? Yeah, the question was how many deluxe hats? Well, since we made deluxe hats D, we just found the answer. 38 students bought deluxe hats. Or caps, I guess we're at the ball field. All right, everybody understand where we went? Now, somewhere you should show me a check. Now, we didn't do that too much yesterday, but again, we're just going to plug in numbers. We know that 6 times D, which is 38, plus 4 times, well, what's 40 minus 38? 2 equals 236, and then we'd find that it checks and works very, very well. All right, now let's try a second problem. This time, we're going to do a value problem. And so this is actually number 4, I think, on your note sheet. And here's what the problem says. It says a collection of 54 dimes and nickels is worth $3.80. How many nickels are there? Well, when I go through here, we're talking about nickels and dimes. How many we've got a total of 54 coins, but we're just solving for nickels, okay? The question says, how many nickels? So just like yesterday, if I'm solving for nickels, I'm going to make nickels n, because when I get done with the math and I isolate n, I have my answer. But if nickels are n, how many dimes are there? Well, remember, there was a total of 54 coins, so in order for me to find how many dimes, it's going to be the total number of coins minus the nickels. That's just exactly what we did yesterday. Now, the value column has to do with the value of the coin, and we know that dimes are worth 10 cents, and we know that nickels are worth 5 cents. And once again, to get our total value, we multiply across the row. So it's the number of dimes times 10 cents. I have to use a little bit of distributive property there. And the number of nickels times 5 cents. So we've got our chart filled in. And so now, what's our equation look like? Well, it says all our nickels and dimes is worth $3.80. So we need to put our dimes, and again, we're using the total values from our chart, plus the nickels equals 380. Now, just like yesterday, instead of doing dollars and cents, we're going to keep everything in cents. So we're going to make it 380. Now, we need to do distributive property. So 10 times 54 is 540 minus 10n plus 5n equals 380. Yes, we can combine some like terms here. So we've got 540 minus 5n equals 380. Now, what do I need to do to get n alone? Yes, I have to subtract 540. So we got negative 5n, and if I subtract 540 over here, we're going to decide that that is negative 160. Okay? Divide both sides by negative 5. So we're going to get n equals, what is that, 20, 30, 32. Now again, the question said how many nickels, and since I made nickels n, that's my answer. So we have 32 nickels. Now remember, show me a check somewhere. And if we plug those in, we get 10 times 54 minus 32 is 22, plus 5 times 32, because that was n, equals 380, and you'd find you get the right answer. 220 plus 160 equals 380, and that's my check. Okay, so we've done a cost problem, we've done a value problem, and now we're going to look at a profit problem. Now remember, when we looked at the very first slide of our PowerPoint today, profit problems are the ones that are just a little bit different. Now it says Henry paid 80 cents for each bag of peanuts. He sold all but 20 of them for $1.50, and he made a profit of $54. As soon as I read that word profit, I circle it, because that helps me know this is a profit problem, and I'm going to have to do it a little bit differently. It says, how many bags did he buy? So we're trying to figure out how many bags he bought, but once again, as always, what do we know? Well, he paid 80 cents for each bag of peanuts. So that means I know that he bought them for 80 cents a piece. Okay, how much did he sell them for? He sold them for $1.50. I'm going to make that 150. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for how many bags did he buy, so I'm going to make bought B. Now it says he sold all of them but 20. He sold all but 20, so if he sold all of them but 20, that's going to make that B minus 20. Everybody understand where all my numbers came from? Good. Now, once again, to get total cost, we multiply across. So bags bought, he bought them for 80 cents a piece. Okay. Bags sold, he sold them for a little bit more. We got to make some profit on this deal. So B minus 20. Now remember, to do a profit problem, it is always the selling price, okay, which is 150 times B minus 20 minus, okay, what he bought them for, which was 80B, equals the profit. Now remember, the profit was $54, but we're going to make it all cents, so 5,400 cents. Okay, so remember, on a profit problem, it's the only problem we do that we subtract. All right, so let's take care of our distributed property, and let's see. We're going to have 150B minus, that's going to be 3,000, I think. And then this is going to be minus 80B. We can combine like terms. 150B minus 80B is 70B minus 3,000 equals 5,400. Who's my floater this time? Need to move it down. Okay, my floater this time is 3,000, so we're going to add the opposite, okay? So now I've got 70B equals 8,400. We're going to subtract both sides by 70. Remember, I can cross out those zeros on the end to make my long division a little bit easier. So that's going to be 1. 7 goes, oh, that worked out very nicely. So B equals what? 120. And since we were trying to find how many bags of peanuts he bought, that's my answer. He bought 120 bags of peanuts. Again, I would make sure that I do a check somewhere. But again, hopefully now you're thinking that, hey, charts aren't really that bad, Mrs. Burton. It really helps me get things organized and be able to solve story problems.